Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Templeton. This is Tom Ferris. And we are from an organization called SPEAK, which stands for Staying Positive Equals Amazing Kids. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on providing educational information and activities that encourage youth to become responsible members of their community. We advocate that all children speak out on issues they feel as though affect them, but we encourage them to do this in a positive manner. We are known for our presentations that we do in schools and other facilities throughout the city. Some of the things that we also provide are community service projects for youth to take part in. Now, this is especially important because in order for some students to graduate, they must first accumulate a certain amount of community service hours. We also believe that volunteering can help lower risky, problematic behavior. It may allow a set of skills to surface that the child never knew that they had, like the ability to problem solve or to be able to multitask. But no matter how you look at it, volunteering promotes positive development within our youth. In this presentation, we are going to reveal tactics that some children use to keep drugs from being discovered by both their parents and school officials. Now, some of you in the audience may recognize that some of these tactics have been around for quite some time, but not everyone here may know about them. It is critical for that reason for parents and teachers to be on the same page if we are to be effective in the development of our youth. Drugs have made their way right into our lives and right into our children's lives without us even knowing it. How? By the use of code words, or better known as street slang. One big reason why kids use drugs is because it is a shared activity, and it makes them feel part of a group. And since most kids are vulnerable to peer pressure and other social issues, it can be sometimes difficult to determine normal teenage moodiness from signs of peer pressure and signs of drug use. Aside from the possible indications like problems at school, problems at home, physical health issues, and changes in behavior, knowing what to look for can play an important role in determining whether or not you can put a stop to something that could be taking place. But how can you put a stop to something if you don't know how to identify it? It could be right in your face and you wouldn't even know it. The best way to hide something from someone is to put it in plain sight. Let's take a moment before we go any further into our presentation to see how sharp you guys are in seeing if drugs are in your environment. I'm going to ask for one person to come up to participate in this event. Can I get a volunteer? One who hasn't seen this presentation before? You? Come on up, man. Thanks so much. So I'm going to refer your attention to the display that we have set up here.
Okay.
Now, envision yourself at home, because these are the normal things that you would have around the house. As you can see, we have cookies, potato chips, soda, and so on. Let's pretend that someone in your house had to be taken to the hospital because it is feared that they may have overdosed on something, but no one knows what. Although it would be a great help to the medical personnel if you can find out what they may have been taking. Can you find any drugs or drug paraphernalia in this environment? If you think you can, put them on this table right here. Before you get started though, to make it interesting for everyone, we're going to time you and give you 1 minute. You got plenty enough time. Take your time. Finished already?
Oh, no, no. I thought it was time.
got 5 seconds left.
Okay, well, I don't know anything else.
That's good. Thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay, either she's a cop or she saw this presentation before.
No, really?
All right, so there's some interesting things. Let's talk about some of the things that you picked up and why you picked them up. Let's start with the clear coat. Is there any reason why you picked this up, or be honest?
I just thought like aerosol sprayer.
Okay, so chemicals like this can be used to huff. You can actually spray it on your body or in your clothes, and that smell will stay there for hours, and you can actually get high off of it. Same thing with butane fluid, spray paint. This is pretty, I wouldn't even think about, obviously I wouldn't think about doing any of this, but this is extremely toxic and can kill you. That's mass airflow sensor. You can buy this at the auto store. It's a certain chemical that's only used to clean electronic parts on your car. Jimmy's, I don't know what's up with the Jimmy's though. What was something we don't know about? Okay, Jimmy.
I love Jimmy.
All right, so what's up with the marker? Did you?
Because to me, sometimes certain markers have a strong.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So permanent markers have the same effect as those spray paint cans here. But the interesting thing about this marker is that it's not really a marker. It's disguised to look like one, but it's actually a pipe. So it's used to blend in. This is really important to look for. Oh, we're going to save all questions to the end. Here's another marker. Same sort of effect. She got lucky. Trust me, she didn't know.
Yeah, sure.
She didn't know. This one actually has a small jar in it with a pipe or a snorting straw. A magic marker. It actually has a pipe in the bottom of it and a little, yeah. So I'm going to talk about some few more things. How about the baking soda?
I think people sniffed it. I don't know.
Okay, actually baking soda is actually used to, I don't want to tell too much, but to develop crack rocks. This is a ingredient to form a crack rock. It's also used to cut certain drugs with so that they can stretch. Drug dealers get the drug in and they go, all right, now how far can I spread this? So they'll use stuff like this, and they'll use all kinds of dangerous drugs to cut their drugs with so they can to make it stretch. How about the WD-40? We loosening up things here. You can smell just about everything up here. But actually, this one is actually a different. This is actually a stash that can blend in as well. Here's a bag of. This ain't real weed, guys. This is moss. Don't be trying to call 911. So, see, hey, oh, hey, calm down. So this is also disguised to blend in. She also picked up an ashtray that has some drug paraphernalia in it. These valves. A lot of these actually hold some of the most dangerous drugs that are available on the street, speed, and also certain types of liquid that you can actually use to drink. So you were good. I was like, oh man, she's good, but she actually picked it up and then put it back down. This is drug paraphernalia. She picked it up, but she put it back down. She didn't win the new car that we were going to give her. This is called a grinder. This is used to grind up marijuana. So when you get, obviously I don't know, but when users get the bag of marijuana, they can put it in here and they can grind it up. A lot of times marijuana seeps into your pores and you can smell it on your finger. So if you're trying to hide that, this is a good thing to have so you can grind it up, and pills too. You can grind pills up with this as well. So I'm going to show a couple of things up here and then we're going to move on. But how about the How about the sandpaper? Remember the video talked about the sandpaper?
No, I saw it, but I didn't want to. That was
So here's sandpaper that is used to grind down pills so they can be snorted. And this is something else too that needs to be looked at. This is aluminum foil with burn marks on it. This is a hollowed out pen. Now obviously people who use drugs often create different names for their tools. So this is actually called not a straw, but a tootie. And it's used to snort, or smoke rather. Each line represents burn marks. So the drug would be here, so you would smoke it and strike the straw like that. So and a lot of times, I'll just use this aluminum foil again. They'll use the same aluminum foil. So if you see foil like this and it's folded up, it could be a sign. Look at it, open it up, investigate it. Especially if you see something like this and this together. A few more. One I'm going to pull off for my brother over here because he loves Oreos.
Oh man, don't disparage the Oreos.
So, but unfortunately, we're not using this to eat Oreos. We're actually using this to hide drug paraphernalia again. So, here's that fake bag of weed, guys. This one doesn't have anything in it. It's the other ones on the bottom that have the real weed. So, all right, see, Izzy's over here trying to get it. How about this? Every once in a while, you'll see this on a kid's wrist or even on a book bag. This is really popular. This is called a shoelace bracelet. It's really nice. It's popular, right? Except this is actually a pipe. Disguised to blend in. So if you don't know what you're looking for, if you're in school and you're looking for things like this is something that you need to pay attention to. So some other hiding places. Well, first of all, let me talk about this. Let me go one more. This actually screams. I like picking this one because it's almost like saying, pick me up, because I can't go to Home Depot and find a battery named Grinder. This is another one. Drugs in the bottom of it, and at the top we have a grinder. Same thing as the red one here, but just a smaller version of it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's an enemy among us. This enemy doesn't care about your sexual orientation. It doesn't care about your nationality. It doesn't care how hard the question is to ask, because it will always have an answer for you. This enemy is the internet. Everything that we have here can be purchased over the internet, or it can be made at home. But rest assured that someone is out there making business and making these things to get over on you. Let's look at some other hiding places that are in the home that are pretty popular. Places like behind posters, even inside sock drawers. You'd be surprised just how many parents don't take their investigation beyond the threshold of the door. They'll get right to the door and say, oh no, there's a pair of dirty drawers on the floor. I'm not going in there. No, never mind. And there goes the investigation right out the window. Other locations may consist of inside toilet tanks. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But some kids have been known to wrap up their drugs or whatever they're trying to hide in sandwich bags, wrap rubber bands around it, and drop it within the toilet tank. If it's not going to be broken, you're not going to be looking in there. If it's functioning, it's fine. No one looks in a toilet tank unless it's not working. Other locations consist of light fixtures, even within pot plants, an inch below the dirt. Cover it up. As you can see, kids go through great lengths to hide things they don't want us to find. So as parents and as teachers, there may come a day where we may need to go to great lengths to find what they could be hiding. Their life could depend on it. But if we don't have the ability to identify, process, or comprehend what's going on around us, then we may not have any control over what happens to us or our families. A lot of life's problems come from living without awareness. When we were young, there wasn't too much that we missed, and we made it a point to learn new things as well as keep up with the latest. Think about it. The first time you've learned how to drive, remember how engaged you were? You avoided potholes. You slowed down for people in the crosswalk, which doesn't happen anymore these days. You may have even anticipated someone else's move just to avoid an accident. This is because you were in a state of heightened awareness. Having a heightened sense of awareness can help us better control our lives and keep our children safe. Now, some people may say, look, are you crazy? I can't keep track of everything that's going on around me. That's impossible. I just can't do it. But this is a natural ability that all of us have. But when it's not used as often as it should be, it becomes harder and harder to use. When that happens, mistakes start to arise. Take common sense, for example. How many of us in this room have ever yelled at someone and questioned whether or not they had common sense? I think everybody in this room has done that before. According to the NIAAA, which is the National Institute on Drug Abuse and Alcoholism, 1 in 5 youth between the ages of 12 and 20 have used alcohol. Here are some ways it is being used without anyone even noticing. Alcohol is very easily hidden in drinks like soda, sports drinks, and water because it has no color. Some parents can't tell if their child is drinking, so here are 2 ways you can check without being too conspicuous. When your child has come home from having a late night out with friends, have a friendly conversation with them. Take a look at their eyes. Check for any redness or dilated pupils and see if they're having a problem focusing in on you as a person. Another major contender in the drug world is the medicine cabinet. Our own medicine cabinet is a primary source for different drugs. And to make matters even worse, some kids think because they are prescription drugs that they are safer to take than street drugs. That thought process, as we all know, couldn't be any further from the truth. According to the partnership of drugfree.org, 1 in 5 kids have abused prescription drugs before the age of 14. Before the age of 14, guys. I don't think I have to tell you that that's a problem in my book because it should be one in yours. I like to tell people all the time that life may send out ripples away from you, but rest assured they're going to come back and they will affect you one day. So if it's not your kid doing this, it could be, and it still may affect them. Take a look at their eyes. Check for any redness or dilated pupils and see if they're having a problem focusing in on you as a person. Another major contender in the drug world is the medicine cabinet. Our own medicine cabinet is a primary source for different drugs. And to make matters even worse, some kids think because they are prescription drugs that they are safer to take than street drugs. That thought process, as we all know, couldn't be any further from the truth. According to the partnership of drugfree.org, 1 in 5 kids have abused prescription drugs before the age of 14. Before the age of 14, guys. I don't think I have to tell you that that's a problem in my book because it should be one in yours. I like to tell people all the time that life may send out ripples away from you, but rest assured they're going to come back and they will affect you one day. So if it's not your kid doing this, it could be, and it still may affect them. So when you hear prescription drugs, what comes to mind? Anybody? What comes to your mind, ma'am? Yeah. Name a prescription drug. Percocet.
Saying that you have any type of sleep medication.
Oxycontin. Oxycodone. Okay, so this is where becoming more aware of Vicodin. This is becoming more aware of what's going on around us can help keep our children safe. Everyone in the audience mentioned pills. But what about liquid prescriptions, like cough syrup? Believe it or not, kids use this to get high. Cough syrup plus Jolly Rancher candy plus soda equals something kids call purple drink. Are you serious? Sounds stupid, right? I agree. But kids are doing it. There are two ways you can help stop things like this from happening. Number one, lock up the liquor cabinet. Number two, keep your prescription medications only where you know where they're located. Drugs are becoming increasingly popular with today's youth. With peer pressure on the rise, the demand for drugs will go up. Although alcohol remains to be the primary choice of substance abuse among teenagers, there is yet another one battling to take center stage. This drug is called Molly. Molly is labeled a club drug because where it mostly makes its appearance. And with all the publicity it's getting from pop stars to rap stars, you could hardly wonder why. Molly is the close cousin of a drug called ecstasy because it is said to have the purest form of MDMA. MDMA stands for methionine, deoxy, methamphetamine, amphetamine. It was used in psychotherapy in the U.S. until it was banned in 1985. It is now used as an illegal hallucinogen and mood enhancer. To its users, Molly produces a euphoria-like high that intensifies all senses of feeling. For example, something as simple as just rubbing up against another person can trigger an overwhelming sense of feeling. Molly comes in forms like these. To its users, now, although its users think that taking this drug is harmless, research has shown that taking club drugs can produce a wide range of unwanted effects. These effects could include hallucinations, paranoia, amnesia, and in some cases, death. Another popular drug used among teenagers is, you guessed it, marijuana. Many people, including some teenagers, think that smoking marijuana is harmless because of all the controversy floating around saying that it's safe. What they don't know is that the younger you start smoking marijuana, the more it has a chance to ruin your life down the line. This is because the brain hasn't stopped developing until you have reached your mid-20s. That means that any usage of any drugs, including alcohol, can stop the brain's development dead in its tracks. Smoking marijuana while the brain is still in its development stages can cause memory and attention problems down the line. It will wind up become a problem or a challenge for the person to become organized in the most simplest ways, like constantly misplacing their things, forgetting to keep their appointments, or forgetting the next part of this presentation. This is because the chemical found in marijuana can screw up the wiring process in the brain. throwing it into a state where it doesn't know what it's doing. As a result, stopping the person's ability to do well in school as well as in life. Keep an eye out for any unusual items and never underestimate where drugs could be stashed. Kids these days are a lot more smarter than we give them credit for. And some are really good at keeping things from being discovered. Here is something that a kid created that was designed to hide the smell of marijuana being smoked. What we're looking at here is a photo shot of some evidence that was donated to us. Let's identify the items that are in this picture. This long paper tube thing is actually a paper towel roll. And the fuzzy thing at the tip is a fabric softener sheet. It gets inserted into the tube, folded around the top, and then gets taped across. When the person takes a hit of marijuana, they blow it into this tube, and the fabric softener sheet at the other end of it acts as a filtration system, cutting back on the potent smell that marijuana leaves behind. If you should come in contact with your own type of drug paraphernalia, please don't fall for the line. "Oh, I was just holding it for a friend so that they wouldn't get in trouble." There is no real easy way to confront someone who is doing drugs. But if you decide to do so, try to be open-minded as to why they are doing them. Explain to them the facts about doing the drug and any dangerous side effects associated with doing them. For a more detailed description about the drugs we have just talked about here today, including the street names that they go by, or to learn about other drugs, like the most dangerous drug in the world, visit our website at phillyspeak.org. Remember, everyone, pay attention to what's going on in your world right now. Educate yourself about the things that affect you and your families. Be proactive and get involved in whatever capacity you are able to. The things in this world affect us more than we realize.